Have you ever thought, I'm a bit weird, aren't I? I feel a bit strange. I'm not the same as everybody else. Is there something wrong with me? Why aren't I like everybody else? Have you ever had that? I know I have. I spent many years, thinking about who am I and why don't I fit in? And what a waste of bloody time that was. Because here's the thing, we're all individuals. We all bring different things to the dance. And on today's episode of an Espresso Shot of Confidence, I'm going to share how I found out I was an ambivert and started doing things on my terms. And how you can too, whether you're an ambivert, introvert, extrovert, or just a plain bloody weirdo. Let's get to it. Greetings, one and all, and welcome to the latest episode of an Espresso Shot of Confidence. I'm your host, the master of awesomeness, Ashley Griffiths. And now let's just rip apart some bloody taboos and hopefully build up some confidence along the way. So I used to think I was weird, strange, odd, a bit abnormal. I used to wear those labels with shame as I wandered around the school, desperately trying to find someone I could have a conversation with. Everything felt heavy. I didn't feel part of anything. Because at the time I didn't know myself. I mean, who does when you're that age? But for the longest time, I carried that through with me, that feeling that I was different, that I didn't fit in, that I didn't belong. University, that feeling followed me. After university, that feeling followed me. And it probably wasn't until my 30s when I started a teaching career and started coming out of my shell. Because ultimately, when you're a teacher, when you've got 30 odd ambivalent teenagers in front of you, well, you're not going to get very far if you just kind of hide in the corner. So it kind of encourages you to step out of your comfort zone and step out of your shell. And these are all things that I did as I was going through that process. And at some point I realized, wow, look at this. I'm actually quite confident now. I'm not so shy. I don't feel so odd. People are talking to me. People are listening to me. People are interested in the stories I have to share. And it was exciting. And I loved being the center of attention. And I loved entertaining. And I loved watching the light bulbs go off in the minds of the people around me. I worked with teenagers, adults. I was noticing the same thing. But it was also around that time that I also noticed that once I had finished those sessions, those classes, I had to go home. And at the weekends, I barely talked to anybody. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? How can I be so sociable there and then so antisocial at the bloody weekends? So my solution to that was, okay, well, I'll just drag myself out, drink a load of beer, and then I'll be all good. And it just created massive friction because on the one hand, at school, when I was working, I didn't need to be drinking. I just was present and I enjoyed the moment. But on the other hand, when I went out, I had to force myself out and force myself to drink to get into the mood. And then I would drink and I'd drink and I'd drink and I'd drink, and then I'd be an idiot. And then I'd spend the next day hungover and hating the world, and then we'd start this cycle all over again. And it just created such friction. I felt like, what is wrong with me? How can I be so sociable, but then so antisocial? And this bugged me for a long time. It bugged me. It really bugged me. And went therapy, explored that, thought I was weird. And then fast forward a few years, I was doing some networking and I put it out there that I'm an introverted extrovert. And she said, well, so you're an ambivert. And I was like, what the hell's one of them? What's an ambivert? Well, by the sound of things, Ash, that sounds like you. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what is this? I'd never even heard of that term before. I'd heard of extroverts and introverts. And I'd, and as she said that, it made sense because I'd always flipped between the two. There were those times when I loved being in the spotlight. I have no problem doing public speaking now. I did, but now the moment I get up on stage, boom, let's get this done. And I love doing it. I just get into my zone. But then on the other hand, I've always been comfortable on my own, in my own company. I've always enjoyed my own company. I've never been in a rush to always be surrounded by people. I just can't. I find it exhausting. So when she told me this, I was like, in typical Ashley fashion, I went down the rabbit hole and went exploring. And I was like, okay, what's this? What's this? What's that all about? So I started exploring it and I was like, that's me. And it changed the narrative because, yes, it was a label. And labels, we can debate all day long about how useful labels are, but it gave me a point of focus. It acted like an anchor. It was something that resonated with me. And I thought, okay, let's explore this. Let's explore this. Let's see what happens. And it just, like I said, it just made sense. I had a reframe. It stopped being that I thought there's something wrong with me to be, well, that's just the way I am. And that is a powerful realization, especially when you lose the word just. This is the way I am. Now, this isn't about being stubborn or not taking responsibility for your actions and your behaviors when somebody just starts doing stuff. And yeah, well, that's just the way I am. You'll just have to deal with it. But this is about something much deeper than that. This is about embracing you, embracing your quirks, your strengths, your journey, and what you bloody need to thrive in this world. Because we spend so long dancing to some fucker else's tune, trying to fit in to someone else's boxes. School, our education system, wherever you are in the world, is designed to make you a good citizen. It celebrates certain traits. It alienates those that do not have them. With the rise of neurodiversity, with the rise of whatever the hell is going on in the world right now, a lot of students at a lot younger age are saying, fuck this, I'm out. And they're leaving the school system. And fair goddamn play to them. Now, this isn't a baiting, this isn't a let's throw the education system under the bus sort of rant. This is a societal bloody rant because ultimately, you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. And when you are taught things and you learn to conform to things, it's very easy to either turn a blind eye or just conform. You may not even be aware that you're doing both. But the thing is, when you actually learn to embrace who you are, it's much easier to start putting in boundaries, starting to learn about what makes you tick, what doesn't work, what you need, what you don't need, what sort of people you want to be around, what sort of people you don't want to be around. And this isn't about being a dick. This is about protecting your energy, because your energy is a finite resource, and it enables you to do the things that you want to do. Now, if you're too busy fighting fires all the bloody time because you're surrounded by a load of people that drain you, you're doing things that you don't want to do because it's just not your nature, then it's very hard for you to get things moving in any way, shape, or form or direction in the way that you actually do want to get things moving. So for me, when I learned about the fact that I was an ambivert, I was able to approach situations in a much more healthier way. I was able to say, look, not interested today. I need some time out. I need some downtime. I was able to move into relationships and say, look, there are times when I just need to go ahead and decompress. I can't be around people 24/7. I just can't. It's not personal. But there is likely to be a time where I go, right, next weekend or next week or whatever, I'm just going to go away for a couple of days by myself. Nothing personal. I just need that fucking time. But the thing is, we live in a society where we've been taught to conform, that we've been taught to do things outside of the norm is bad and wrong and crap. Have a look around at society right now. How many happy people do you know? And I mean really happy, fulfilled people do you know? Probably count them on one hand, right? And that is because for a large majority of them, they are not living the lives that they're meant to be living, that they were born to bloody live. They're living someone else's story. They're trying to be normal when they're not normal. They're a weirdo. Embrace the bloody weird. You know, this last year, I've worked with some extremely quirky individuals that wear that I'm a weirdo. I ain't normal. I don't want to be bloody normal badge with honor. And it has been eye-opening. It's been liberating. It has been empowering to be in their energy and to watch them go, you know what? Fuck this. Who cares what people thinks? This is the way I am. I am not going to dilute that, censor that, edit that anymore. I'm going to be me. I'm going to put that out. I am going to show up in the way that makes sense for me. And it's been awesome to watch. It's been awesome. It's been mind-blowing. It's been just great to see those people fly. Not apologizing for who they are. Not apologizing for the way they see the world. Not apologizing for the way that they talk, dress, look, sound. It's so empowering, and those people are so inspiring because they're a role model. They're a role model for all of us to follow because they are truly embracing who they are. And when you truly embrace who you are, that is the best gift that you can give to the world. Because it means you honor yourself. You love yourself. And that isn't about being arrogant. That is about self-love. There is no greater gift. There is no greater gift. And when you're shining that light inwards, you're able then to shine that light outwards. And it just creates this ripple effect, which has an impact on everybody around you. Even those people that might not actually know you, because you're carrying yourself around. You're less heavy. You're more real. You're more you. And you're able to be more honest. You're able to share what it is you really need, which means you're not relying on everyone being a mind reader. You're not saying yes when your body and mind is screaming no, and vice versa. It's powerful. Super powerful. And for me, when I embraced the fact that I don't fit in a box, I'm not an introvert. I'm not an extrovert. I'm somewhere in the middle, somewhere in between the margins, somewhere in between the lines. And I am not in anyone else's box, because I'm stood on top of a big bloody spangly one with a megaphone in my hand going, woo, 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 I'm awesome. And you can do that too. I mean, you don't have to have the megaphone, you don't have to stand on the box. You could be doing star jumps. You could be standing, dancing, hopping, skipping, sitting, whispering, singing, whatever it is that you want. Because that's the joy, right? It's your story, your narrative. You get to do what the hell you want with that. Which, on that note, that brings us careening into the end of this episode. Which means, I'm guessing, you lot are going to want an espresso shot of confidence, right? And who am I to deny you? So here it is. You don't have to be loud to be heard. You don't have to dance, sing, scream, wear spangly clothing to be handsome, beautiful, to have the spotlight shone upon you. You don't have to be known by everybody to be loved by many. You don't have to have the loudest voice to be heard by the people who need to hear it. You don't need to have supermodel good looks to light up the room when you walk into it. Because you are awesome and you're doing amazing work in the world. So keep on doing it. I thank you for that. And I thank you for listening or watching wherever you are in the world. Keep on subscribing. And as always, don't forget to be awesome.